Okay, so picture this, a gorgeous, lush English garden. Got it? Now imagine that every single plant in there, from the prettiest flower to the most harmless looking vine, has the power to kill you. Well, that place isn't some fantasy novel, it's real. It's the Alnwick Poison Garden, where botany and murder intersect in the most fascinating way.
It all starts right here, behind these super intimidating black iron gates. And trust me, they are a very clear warning. Because inside is a collection of about 100 of the world's most toxic, intoxicating, and, yeah, narcotic plants. This is not your typical botanical garden. It's more like a living library of lethal flora.
And they are absolutely 100% serious about the rules. This warning is posted for a very, very good reason. To even get into the poison garden, you have to be on a guided tour, and those 3 rules, no smelling, no touching, no tasting, are completely non-negotiable. The dangers in here are real. So, how in the world did a place like this ever come to be? Well, the story is actually just as fascinating as the plants themselves. It all kicked off with a forgotten patch of land and a duchess who had a, let's say, unconventional idea. So these grounds have a really long history, first laid out way back in the 18th century. But by 1950, after the war, they were shut down and just completely neglected. Fast forward to the late 90s, when Jane Percy becomes the Duchess of Northumberland. She's tasked with providing the gardens, and her first thought was something traditional, a medicinal garden. But then a trip to Italy changed everything. This quote from the Duchess, man, it just gets right to the heart of her vision. She realized that kids, and let's be honest, adults too, were not all that captivated by the healing properties of plants. Aspirin comes from tree bark? Okay, cool. But a plant that was used in a famous murder? Now that gets your attention. She chose poison for its sheer undeniable power to fascinate.
So, what exactly is living inside these gates? Let's take a quick look at some of the garden's most notorious inhabitants. The collection has over 100 different species. And while lots of plants in the world might have some poisonous part, in here, it's 100%. Every single one is a potential killer, which is why the really dangerous ones are literally kept locked away inside giant black cages.
And this gallery is just packed with killers. You've got historical icons like hemlock. Yep, the same plant that famously killed the philosopher Socrates. Then there's foxglove, which is beautiful but can stop your heart, though it also gives us the heart medication digitalis. And of course, you've got plants like the opium poppy and the coca plant, which are so heavily controlled that the garden needs special permission from the British government just to grow them.
You know, what makes a lot of these plants so mind-bending is their duality. Take the castor bean plant. It gives us harmless castor oil, a pretty common household thing. But its seeds contain one of the most potent toxins on Earth, ricin. And for ricin poisoning, there is no known antidote. Just think about that for a second. According to one of the guides there, the poison from just one of those little beans is potent enough to kill roughly 130 people. It's a staggering, almost unbelievable display of nature's hidden power. And the castor bean is far from the only resident with a dark and storied past. Let's talk about Atropa belladonna, or deadly nightshade. This plant is a true star in the world of poison, with a history that weaves together beauty, vanity, and cold-blooded murder. The plant's name basically tells you its whole story. Belladonna means beautiful woman in Italian. Back in the Renaissance, women would use its juice as eye drops to make their pupils dilate, which was seen as super seductive. But the plant's scientific name, atropos, comes from Atropos, one of the Greek fates, the one who decided when you died by cutting the thread of your life. Beauty and death, all in one package. And oh yeah, its deadly side has been used all through history. Rumor has it that the Roman Empress Livia poisoned her husband Augustus with it. The Scots famously used it to take out an entire invading English army. And much more recently, a 14-year-old British serial killer in the 1970s used belladonna's sweet berries to poison his own family, almost like it was some kind of twisted science experiment. So, all of this kind of begs the question, right? Why? Why on earth would you create a public garden filled with things that can genuinely hurt or even kill you? Well, the answer is education, but in a way you will never, ever forget. And listen, the danger here is not theoretical. Not every plant needs to be touched to be harmful. On one hot summer day,
Several visitors reportedly fainted just from inhaling the toxic fumes while walking through the garden. This tangible risk is actually part of what makes the garden's mission so powerful. But this isn't just for shock value. The garden has a really clear three-part mission. First, it's a powerful tool for drug education, showing that stuff like cannabis and opium come from plants, not just some lab. Second, it teaches us about the hidden dangers in nature, maybe even in our own backyards. And third, it uses these absolutely wild stories to make science and history just utterly captivating. This quote from one of the guides really sums it all up perfectly. It's all about blending education with entertainment. The thrill is what makes the lesson stick. I mean, it's one thing to be told a laurel hedge is poisonous. It's another thing entirely to stand in front of one while hearing a story about how its clippings killed someone. You're not going to forget that. Which brings us to a final thought. The Alnwick Poison Garden isn't just a collection of exotic killers from far-off places. A lot of its residents are common plants you see all the time. Foxgloves, laurels, laburnum. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What beautiful, silent dangers might be hiding in plain sight, maybe right outside your own door.